studied Russia and Switzerland and South Africa and Nigeria and Brazil and Mexico and many other countries, North Korea. And if you get caught in Mexico, you get 6 months to a year, hard labor, and you get tortured, and you get money sucked out of you if you're lucky. You get out. And in North Korea, you come in on a tourism visa. They watch everything you say. A government agent follows you with a pad and paper and writes down every word you say and talks to everybody you talk to. Vice has done tours of the country and shows everything they do is track what they ate, when they went to the bathroom, what they did. And you get caught doing something you're not supposed to, taking a photo or something, you're sent to a death camp. And you're sent back to the U.S. when you're brain dead. And then I hear America is this racist dirt hole and we're not open enough. When we're more open, back when Ellis Island used to keep you for 3 months to make sure you didn't have the bubonic plague or tuberculosis or whatever the case was. Now they just let you in. You can come here, have your babies for free, whatever. If you try to become a legal citizen, they make it really hard. But they make it really easy to come here and just be here illegally because they want that big underclass they control and exploit. And then they turn around and point at the white population that I guess statistically sometimes, nothing like the Asians, but statistically has some wealth, and goes, look, they stole it. You just got here and they're evil white people and they're causing you a problem. Ryan asked Trump to hold off on scrapping DACA, the Dreamer Act. And I get it if people brought somebody here when they were a year old or whatever, they've been here for 20 years, and yeah, okay, and they're Americanized. Why can't they be citizens? Because then people bring their kids just to be born here so they're citizens, and then it's exploited, and the leftists sit there and fill them full of anti-American garbage. And then we have the head of the EU, we'll play the clip in a moment, the vice president of the EU, saying Europe will not stop being diverse. And he says no country will stay the way it was. Well, here's the problem. You're deciding, you're saying it's a program to make Europe non-European, and then the group you bring in against all the polls and the people is unprepared, unprofessional, unskilled, 80+% military-age men, 10 million of them in the last 5 years. I kept saying 5 million for the numbers I had. Earlier this year, they released the numbers. 10 million people the last 5 years brought in by the UN program by Peter Sutherland that heads it up, who said Europe's too white. And you're like, look, I'm not a racist, but when I start hearing something's too white or white people are bad and it's all over the news and white people are getting beat up and attacked and CNN says, oh, poor white people. At a certain point, I'm absolutely sick of it. These are global corporations that don't want any culture in any nation. They want them divided and conquered, just like the Tower of Babel, to control them, and they admit that's the plan. And then they sit there and shake their finger at you like Stephen King that lives behind a big gate and a big fence with armed guards, but he wants our borders open, or Michael Moore that's got 6 armed guards and big walls, but he says you should pay for everybody to live in your house. They're just establishment people. George Clooney sold his mansion in England and another one in Eastern Europe because Muslims were overrunning it. He even said it's too dangerous. But while he evacuates areas he called for to be open, after Europe's been invaded hundreds of times by Muslims, and they've run up the white flag and say, it's time for you to invade. We have women. We have everything. It's all free. Come here. While Europe opens its gates through Turkey and through Syria for this to happen, they all live behind big walls. They're hypocrites. They're frauds. Europe will not stop being diverse. Stop being. And then they have all the weird BBC shows that show ancient Romans were black. Ancient Britons were black. Look, here's a Victorian scene of England where half the population is black and Asian. And it's just like it's a crime to have white people even exist when whites are a global minority of 7%. But this is a strategy. Bring in third world populations, hype them up full of all this racial animus and hate, have them ally with the big bureaucracy and the deep state to neutralize the majority indigenous populations. But it's even worse. Have the new minority population embrace socialism, collectivism, corporatism as its mommy, believing that's who butters their bread, so they never adopt the ideas of the West that are countervailing the winds of tyranny and are not comportable or systematically inducive towards tyranny. And that's the plan. That's globalism. That's what they're doing. You can't go to North Korea. You can't go to China as somebody from Africa or somebody from North America. You can't go to China and say, I'm here to have my baby free. I'm here to get welfare. They will throw you in the jail and beat you up and laugh at you. They're hard. They've got suicide nets at their factories, suicide nets in the stairwells. They kill Christians and Buddhists. The Islamicists are hard, and the globalists are allied with communists and Islamicists and others who are impregnable to all their bleeding heart stuff. But they know Christian Western nations are wide open to it. And they say, you let us have carbon taxes and world government and sexualize your 5-year-old, or we're going to call you a racist or a homophobe. And the average American lays on their back and says, yes, sir, I'll do whatever you say. Just wave your magic priest wand and tell me I'm absolved. Tell me I'm trendy. Tell me I'm politically correct. I'll do anything, even to myself and my family, because I want to be accepted by the power structure that's out to destroy me in their own admissions. So when we start the next hour on your phone calls, I'm going to get to that EU bureaucrat statement. You know what? Let's do it now. Here is the Vice President of the European Union saying, we're going to Islamify you. Oh, and by the way, they've announced in Sweden, Muslims are allowed to rape. It's their culture. Here it is.
Diversity is now, in some parts of Europe, seen as a threat. Diversity comes with challenges. But diversity is humanity's destiny.
Totally sick.
There is not going to be, even in the remotest places of this planet, a nation that will not see diversity in its future. Society that is exclusively composed of people from one culture are trying to portray a future based on a past that never existed.
Hit pause.
Therefore, that
notice, a past that never, back it up 5 seconds, please. A past that never existed. That's why they show you in all the BBC shows, everything like Rome, they're black, it's just half black. Or England, they're like half black. Because, or the pyramids, it's white people, black people, you name it. Because nobody had a country, nobody had a culture, because globalism doesn't want to have that in its way. It wants you just to accept the new plastic AI, corporate, Amazon is your culture, Apple is your culture, suicide nets, forced abortions, forced drugging of employees. It's okay because we're liberal. We're liberal. Give up your culture. Take the mark of the beast. Accept world government. And then these guys all exempt themselves in the EU Commission from taxes, from regulations. They have diplomatic immunity. They're up there like gods telling you you're going to accept it. Here it is.
portray a future based on a past that never existed.
Oh, yeah, never existed.
Therefore, that future will never be.
Oh, so there was, it paused. They're torturing Winston in 1984, and he goes, Winston, there was never freedom. You never had a mother or father. There was never a family. 2 + 2 never equaled 4. There was never a past where Europe was white. There was never a past where you could own a gun. There was never a past where mothers nurse their babies or no. Babies were always born in a factory. Brave New World. You realize this is all a unified cult telling you what reality is, and all the other people in the crowd know they're priests of power. They all know they're technicians in psych warfare. Let's continue.
We'll be diverse. Like all other parts of the world, we'll be diverse. If we don't get this right, I truly believe Europe will not remain the Europe we've built.
Hit pause again. Japan is 99.9% Japanese. China's 99% Chinese. And they take over their neighbors and make them become Chinese. Mongolia, Tibet, you name it. But then you say, like everywhere else. No, Nigeria's 100% Nigerian. Brazil's Brazilian. It's only Europe, folks. And that's because the power, the wealth, the culture's there. And once the globalists have gotten that, sky's the limit.
Diversity is now in some parts of Europe seen as a threat. Diversity comes with challenges, but diversity is humanity's destiny. There is not going to be, even in the remotest places of this planet, a nation that will not see diversity in its future. That's where humanity is heading. And those politicians trying to sell to their electorates a society that is exclusively composed of people from one culture are trying to portray a future based on a past that never existed. Therefore, that future will never be. Europe will be diverse. Like all other parts of the world, we'll be diverse. The only question is, how do we deal with that diversity? And my answer to that is by ensuring that our values determine how we deal with diversity and not giving up our values to refuse diversity. That will bring us down as a society. If we don't get this right, I truly believe Europe will not remain the Europe we've built. Europe will not remain a place of peace and freedom for very long.
You found it. It's the real news.
That's what you have to look forward to.
He's not sorry when snowflakes can't handle the truth. It's your host, David Knight.
Start your mornings every Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. Central, 9 a.m. Eastern. Real News with David Knight. You can find us on Infowars.com/show.
Every morning before I start writing or shooting a video, I take 2 capsules of brain force for a sustainable burst of energy. This is, without question, the most powerful nootropic I've ever taken, and it comes without any of the crashes or the jitters associated with energy drinks. It's additive-free, nothing artificial. It's Brain Force Plus. Read thousands of 5-star independent reviews right now and get your Brain Force Plus at InfoWarsLife.com.